Today I'm back with another book haul. I wasn't expecting to be back so soon, but some exciting developments have occurred and I bought a bunch of books and I've also signed up for my first ever book subscription service. I signed up for the Locked Library. I thought I would like to create some content around this. First of all, do some book hauls, unboxings for these, but also perhaps I could do a series where I read the books that come in the subscription box and then tell you whether I think the box is worth it. The reason I picked up the Locked Library box was because I was looking through some of their previous releases and I realised I was interested in a lot of their stuff and I quite liked their special editions. I also like that you can, I think, skip as much as you like. I haven't skipped any boxes yet, obviously this is my first one, but I am interested in the March book and I think I might get the April book, maybe, but I like having the security of being allowed to skip as much as I like. So I'm going to do some unboxing now. I have already had a quick peek inside, so I'll let you know what I think of my first ever book subscription box, and then after I've accumulated maybe 3 or 4 of them, I can tell you whether I think it's worth it. I could have set up the camera to look down at a table, but I didn't want to. So this is how the book arrives, and then it also comes with some nice packaging as well that I have just ripped. So this is what has happened. This was folded really nicely. So the book that I got in this first box is the February pick for Locked Library, and that is The Sirens by Amelia Hard. She wrote Wayward, which I read in October and really enjoyed. That was about witches. This is about sirens. So this is what the cover looks like. I will put the other original cover here. So it's very different. This is what the back looks like, and I'll show you the edges. These are really nice actually. The top and bottom are just black. Oh, this is a little fabric thingy. And then let me take this off and I will show you the hardcover. So this says the sea gives, but it also takes. Then you've got the little siren tail. And then this is the spine. This I think matches all of the other Locked Library spines, like the rows line up. There's a letter and a printed signature, it looks like. I don't think this is signed otherwise. There's also a historical note, which isn't exclusive to the Locked Library, but I love it when authors do that and give you some historical context. So that's this one. This is my first ever book and I'm pleased with it. I think it's really nice. I like that it was an author that I'm already familiar with and a book that I wanted to check out as well. And I do really like these edges. I think they're really nice. The rest of the book is just kind of okay. I like the colour scheme, the blue and the hot pink, but the cover is like nothing special, I don't think. So in terms of the design, I don't think it's worth 25 quid, but it is quite cool having a special edition. And I do think that I will enjoy this one. So just to tell you quickly what I think this is about. There are 2 sisters, Lucy and Jess. Jess disappears and Lucy is left all alone looking for her. And then in a nearby cave, because the 2 of them lived near the coast, Lucy starts hearing voices. These voices are telling her stories of 2 sisters. So I really like the sound of this. I know that I like Amelia Hart's writing style, so I'm really looking forward to reading this. As I said, I will read this and the next maybe 2 or 3 books that I get from this subscription service, and then we'll do like a full review kind of thing where I tell you whether I think it's worth it. So now let's carry on with the rest of my book haul because I did buy some other books. Okay, so there's not really any kind of rhyme or reason to this haul. It's just books that I either impulse bought or books that I had had my eye on for a while. Actually, a lot of those were impulse purchases as well, but let's just get into it. I'll try to remember where I got each book from, just in case you're interested. So let's start off with The Boyfriend Candidate by Ashley Winstead. So this is the first of her romance books. She typically writes thrillers, or she started out writing thrillers, and I've read 2 thrillers by her, really loved them. And I saw this book and her other one, which I also picked up for me once, in the works for £2.50. So I couldn't really pass this up knowing that it's an author that I do really enjoy. And I think I even received The Boyfriend Candidate from NetGalley and I haven't read it yet. I thought now would be a really good time to purchase these and then get to them ASAP. So this first one, The Boyfriend Candidate, is about a school librarian called Alexis. He doesn't like being in the spotlight. And then she meets a mysterious stranger at a hotel bar called Logan. And then they're complete opposites, and then opposites do attract. It says the next day, Alexis finds her face splashed all over the news. It turns out that the mysterious stranger is a candidate who is running for Texas governor. Okay, so a bit of politics set in the US. Not sure how I'll feel about that, but I do trust this author, so we'll see. It says that a scandalous one-night stand could sink Logan's career, and so Alexis must pretend to be his long-term girlfriend. I love the sound of this one. I'm going to add it to my March TBR, just telling you now, because I really, really want to read it. The politics might hit a little bit too close to home right now, but we will see. And then the next one is For Me Once, which I've already shown you. This is about a woman called Lee Stone, who is a communications director at a woman-run electric car company that's better than Tesla. She's had 4 major heartbreaks. In particular, her grad school boyfriend Ben, who wasn't actually cheating, that she could have sworn that he was, and so she reciprocated in kind. 5 years later, Ben shows up again and sparks reignite. So I love the sound of these two. I think I'm gonna really enjoy them. I think, well, what I've been trying to do is come up with a video on which Ashley Winstead book I think is best, but she keeps releasing more books and I can't keep up because I am slow to get to these. I'm thinking I might split it into thriller and romance separately because it seems a bit weird to compare her romance books to her thriller books. I don't know, I'm gonna read all of them and then decide how I want to do it, if I want to do like a part 1 and part 2, or if I just want to split it into like sections. But regardless, I'm hyped to read these, and this first one's definitely going on my March TBR, and I might get to this one as well. We will see. Might be a really good one to read for Duo's 24-hour readathon, by the way, and the date for that has recently been announced. I think it's the 28th of April, if that's the Saturday that weekend, like the last Saturday of April basically. So maybe one of these would be a good one for that weekend. So recently, Waterstones did a pre-order deal where you could pre-order from a set list of books and you would receive 25% off of all of those. And one of my pre-orders has already come in, which means it was really good timing. I pre-ordered The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I've already read this book and I really enjoyed it. I read it as an ebook when it first came out, but because I don't like reading books in hardback too much, and my copies of A Good Girl's Classifieds are in paperback, I pre-ordered this paperback and it's cute. I think this is the Waterstones exclusive, so it's got this edge which says Reappearance. And then also, I believe, yeah, it's signed. That's quite cool. I don't think there's any extra content or anything, but I've already read this one and I enjoyed it. It's about a girl, teenager called Belle, whose mother disappeared years ago. She starts getting involved in a documentary about her mother, and then her mother shows up again. All of a sudden. It's not as good as A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but it's still a really good book, so I'd recommend it. I also spent a load of money on the Murderbot books. So I have purchased Fugitive Telemetry, Network Effect, and System Collapse. I don't know which order these go in, but I have been reading through the Murderbot books and I really, really like these covers, and I think they might be going out of print, or at least Tor is condensing them into 2 novellas per book, so the covers are changing. And I don't know if Martha Wells continues the series, if the books are going to continue in this style. I hope they do, because I do really like these covers. These have sort of like an old school sci-fi feel to them, but also looking fairly modern, I think, and I really like the matte feel of the covers. I wish more books did this, even though they're a bit slippery. I think they feel much nicer than the glossy covers. Yeah, I really enjoy these, so that's why I wanted to pick them up. And they were so expensive. I got these ones, I think, from eBay. They don't publish here, so it's really hard to get hold of them. The series is a different size, very slightly, and that's really, really annoying, so thank you for that, Tor. That's really frustrating. I haven't read these yet. I'm working my way through them. I'm going to read a couple of them probably in March. I picked up Woman of Light because I found it for like £4, and some people from my work book club are reading this, so I thought I might try to join in. I don't know if I'm going to have time, but I might give it a go. It's blurbed by Celeste Ng and Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is really promising, and I've actually had it on my wish list for quite a while. So this one is about a woman called Luz who is a tea leaf reader, and it says here that she is left to fend for herself after her older brother Diego is run out of town by a violent white mob. It's set in the 1930s. Luz is trying to navigate everything that's going on, and it says she starts having visions which transport her to her indigenous homeland in the nearby Lost Territory. So I think this is a story about ancestors and stories, and passing those stories through the generations, and I love that. I really, really enjoy generational stories that follow different generations of the same family, but also I enjoy reading about the different stories that are passed on and how those stories are passed on as well. It's a real interest of mine, so I'm looking forward to reading this one. It doesn't have the best rating on Goodreads, but that's fine. I'm still really keen to give this one a go. I also picked up one of my books fell over. I also picked up Lady Smoke and Ember Queen. These are both by Laura Sebastian, who wrote Ash Princess, which I read in February, and I loved it. I read it in less than 24 hours, and so I picked up the rest of the series. I got these two from World of Books, I think for about £3.50 each, so that's not bad going. So this series is about a girl called Theo whose kingdom was overran by a Kaiser who killed her mother in front of her and kept Theo locked away in the palace. And there were various rebellions going on and whatever, but Theo eventually lost hope of being rescued. And then one day the leader of the rebellion is brought to the throne room and Theo is forced to kill him. And that's kind of the last straw for her. After that, she's like, I have to get out of here. And so she gets some help from some people that she comes to know, and they start thinking about her escape, and obviously other things are going on. It's a YA fantasy series, really underrated, and I can't wait to carry on with the series as well. I really hope it's a good series ender. I'm convinced it's going to be because I loved the first book so much. So the book that fell over was The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. I've seen this around a few times, but I've not seen it being overly hyped, so I'm not really sure what to expect from this one. So it says here that the main character, Hart, is a marshal who is tasked with patrolling strange and magical wilds of Tambria, which I assume is like the continent or something this is set in. And then there's also another main character called Mercy. The title therefore makes sense. It says that she never has a moment to herself. She's been keeping an undertakers afloat. Okay, interesting. And so he has a run-in with Mercy, and then there's something about letters being exchanged. So I'm very curious about this one. Like I said, I don't know what to expect because not many people have spoken about it. I've seen this on a few different people's channels, but I don't know anyone who, I know maybe like one person who's read it. Others have just like called it as far as I've seen. So if you've read this one, let me know what you thought of it. It's another Orbit book, so I've got so many books of theirs on my shelf. My husband went up to Leeds recently for his brother's birthday and he found a bookshop on a houseboat. And I'm really jealous that I wasn't there. But he picked me up 2 books just kind of on a whim because he thought that I might enjoy them. So the first one that he picked up was The Full Moon Coffee Shop. And this is another translated book. I think is going to be like a cozy fantasy. I don't know if you guys have noticed, you probably have. But Before the Coffee Gets Cold was published, there are now so many books being translated from Japanese and Chinese and Korean into English that focus on cozy coffee shops or libraries or bookstores. And it has become this whole like mini genre, which I find really, really interesting. So I had been talking to my husband about this trend and he came across this one up in Leeds. And so he picked it up for me. I think he was quite intrigued by the cats on the cover, which is fair. I don't think I've heard about this one, as far as I can remember. It says here that the coffee shop attracts customers who have lost their way in their life, from a down-on-her-luck screenwriter and a lovesick TV director to a misunderstood stylist and a failed video game developer. In the middle of the night, the coffee shop's feline guides take them on an astrological journey which forces the characters to face up to the past in order to discover their destiny. I think this sounds really magical and it's really short as well. I would like to give this a read sometime soon. He also picked me up The Morrigan, which is an Irish mythology retelling about a witch, I believe. It's also blurbed by Juno Dawson, who is an author that I have been enjoying. So it says here, a tribe of gods reaches the rocky shores of Ireland, among them a strange hungry red-haired girl, a girl who can change shape from bird to beast to goddess, a girl who dreams of battle, of blood, of death and power. She does not yet know that a woman who seeks to rule will always be in danger, or that there are far more treacherous figures in this land than the gods who raised her. And then it's talking about rage, power and beauty. So I think this one sounds really good. I also really like this cover. This is another like matte feeling cover with some foil, which I do really, really like. It's so much better than the glossy stuff. So yeah, looking forward to reading this. I think my husband did really well picking these, to be honest. And then I've got 2 more books. These are the last 2 that I bought for myself. And then I've got 2 more books to show you that I got from the library. So I decided on a whim to go all out and buy the hardbacks of Children of Fallen Gods and Mother of Death and Dawn, even though I haven't read the first book. I've got the first book in a paperback, but I had heard that this book series has been picked up to be traditionally published. And it's now really, really difficult to get hold of all of these books in these editions. And I found them one day after clicking through like several links and sublinks and stuff. I found them both and I just thought I will buy them and hope that I do really enjoy this series because I love these covers. These are so much nicer than what I think the publisher is going to come out with. So I really wanted these copies. They're giving like mild Throne of Glass fantasy vibes and I really like these ones. I might end up really liking the traditionally published ones when those are released. But I just really wanted these covers and so I decided to pick them up. If I hate this series, I will resell these or something. I just think they look stunning and this is just really my kind of colour. These are like bricks though, these are so heavy. Holding these up is like doing a whole workout. I'm not entirely sure what this series is about. I've heard things about the first book, but to be honest, I'm trying to forget so I can go in knowing nothing because I don't want the hype to like overcome me. So I would like to read these soon. I think my friend and I are going to buddy read the first book together, maybe. So I'm going to give the first chapter like a taste test to see what I think, and then get to it soonish, I hope. Then I can maybe do a recap as well. And then the last 2 books are ones that I got from the library. The first one is one that I just found on the shelf randomly, and that's A Haunting on the Hill. This is a retelling, remaster of A Haunting of Hill House, which I did really enjoy. And I've had my eye on this one since I knew that it was coming out. I think it came out last year or the year before. I just hadn't picked it up, and I saw it in the library, so I thought I'd just grab it. It's not got the best reviews. Sorry, I just found a receipt in here and someone took it out of the library along with The Witch and the Star. I get nosy about these things. It's not had the best reviews, but I would like to give it a go because I do really like The Haunting of Hill House, and I'm intrigued to see what this author can do with that story. And then finally, the last book that I got is one that I also have from NetGalley, but I haven't read yet. I know that's like the theme of my channel, is getting things from NetGalley and not reading them, but I'm still promoting the book, okay? So the one that I picked up from the library is Good Dirt. This is a new release. It came out in January. This is multi-generational. It says here the main character, Abby, is travelling to France to take a 3-month hiatus from her complicated home life. The last person that she expects to find there is her ex-fiancé Henry and his new girlfriend in tow. And then it skips to 20 years earlier when her family were the only African Americans living in this rich coastal town. And then there was some sort of tragedy in the family. So I love the sound of this one. I've had my eye on it for ages. I mentioned that I want to read it in my January new releases video, so I would like to get to this one very soon and let you know what I think of it. I've just had a look and it looks like the chapters are really short, so this should be a really fast one to read. And that's all. Thank you for watching my March book haul. As I said before, I will let you know what I think of the Locked Library once I receive a few more of them. I'll carry on doing unboxings every time I receive one. Hopefully I won't buy too many books before I see you next for a book haul, but who knows? It depends what I'm feeling like, really, doesn't it? Let me know what you think of any of these, if you think I should prioritise any of them, if you want recaps of any of them, just tell me what you think in the comments below. If you made it this far, leave a fire emoji, just because. Thank you for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Bye.